I can't live if living is without you. I can't live, I can't give anymore.
Hey, it's Nate with another piano tutorial. Today I'm doing Without You, and I'm basing it on the Harry Nilsson recording. This is a great piano song to learn. It's fairly simple, just 2 sections. But there's a lot of neat little details to the piano part that makes it really fun to play and sound super cool. Let's jump in. All right, first off, I recommend you get the chords and lyrics chart. There's a link down in the description that'll help you follow along and see where the chords and the lyrics line up with each other. We'll start out with the intro. Here's the chords for that. So we've got this E add 9 going to regular E major. It's kind of a cool voicing here. For the E add 9, I'm going to do a B and an F sharp while playing an E in the left hand here with my first finger. This is middle C here, just for reference there. So it sounds like that. And then for the E, it's gonna be like that. G sharp and E in the right hand. So you're just you're pivoting back and forth between these 2 different intervals in the right hand. I like using second finger for the bottom note there, first finger for the bottom note there. And we're in 4/4 time, so each of these measures gets 4 counts. And since there's 2 chords in each, those chords each get 2 counts. And right off the bat, let's play quarter notes in the right hand. So just hitting on every count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That already sounds really good. The only addition to make here is a little bit more rhythm in the left hand, as well as adding the low octave as well. And whenever in this song I'm doing octaves, if you can't make that stretch, that's totally fine. You can just pick the high or low, whichever sounds better to you. To really nail the left hand on this song, we need to think in 8th notes, so not just thinking the 1, 2, 3, 4, but dividing the beat in half, thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and throughout the song, he will often play on the and after 2 and the and after 4. Sometimes just the and after 4. He varies it. You can be a little bit loose with it, but that's how you capture the energy. Let's practice that just on the E add 9 chord for a sec. So it would be 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. So what he does on the intro, we've got the 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. On the and after 4 there, they add the low octave. So, and 1, 2, and 3. He doesn't play the and after 2 there. 4, and does play it there. And that would be the verse starting. So from the second measure of the intro, we've got 1, 2, and 3. Well, I can't forget this evening. So let's look at that verse. Here's the chords for that. And here's the deal. I want to just get this out of the way. I struggled a bit with how to notate this song, especially so the chords and lyrics chart doesn't look too messy. Most of the chords in the song will last a measure, and within that measure, it might go back and forth between like a sus2 and the regular chord, or add 2. And I didn't want to write it all in. It was just too dense. So I'm just going to say E here for this measure. But if you follow along with the video, you'll know that this is yet another measure where we kind of go back and forth between that add 9 variation. And I'll give you the variations throughout. But you can always keep it as simple as you need to just be the basic chords. So like I said, this first measure of E here is just like the measures that we did in the intro. Well, I can't forget this evening, or your face as you were leaving. So for the G sharp minor, gonna go, this I'm not gonna do an octave for. He just does the G sharp in the left hand, and then third finger there, and then G sharp, B, and D sharp for the right hand. Although there is an added second for the first half of that measure. 1, 2, and 3, 4. That would be faces you were leaving, but I guess. So F sharp minor is an F sharp, A, and a C sharp, stepping down to F sharp here. But once again, for the first half, you can add in the second there with your second finger. That's going to be a G sharp. But I guess that's just the way the story. And I'll note on the very first verse, not the other ones, when he lets go of the second, he just does the fifth. But I guess that's just the way the story goes.
You always. Okay, so for this G sharp 7, that he goes back to octaves here. So G sharp, and then the notes to the right hand chord are primarily F sharp, G sharp, and C. So you could just voice it like that, but they do this cool thing where it's 1 and 2 and 3, 4. So 1, F sharp, G sharp, holding that down, 1 and 2, and on beat 3, you can let go of the G sharp, do that C, and then on beat 4, step down to the A sharp. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Cool. Now we have these two measures where the chords move twice as fast. You always smile, but in your eyes, your sorrow shows. So for the C sharp minor, back to doing octaves. C sharp here, G sharp, C sharp, and E there. 1, 2, and then stepping down to this E over B. This is an inversion on an E major chord where we got G sharp, B, and E. So notice that's a really smooth transition. It's only the middle note in the right hand moves. I'm stepping down to B octaves in left hand. Your sorrow shows. F sharp over A sharp. So that's F sharp, A sharp, and C sharp in the right hand, A sharp octaves in the left hand. And that is just for 2 counts. 1, 2, and then it's regular F sharp. On this particular verse though, when the left hand goes down to the F sharp for the second half of the measure, the right hand leaps up an octave higher. Your sorrow shows 2, 3, and 4, and that's an optional detail. After hitting this, there's a little and 4, and on a C sharp, F sharp, C sharp, so you can throw that in if you'd like it. Almost done here. We've got this measure of E, but this is what this measure is going to sound like. Yes, it shows. So I guess it's more E sus2 than it is E major. E major being E, G sharp, and B. So similar to what we were playing before, but now we're just in root position. And then the sus2 would be with the F sharp instead. So on beats 1, 2, and 4, it plays the sus2 and it goes to the regular E major on beat 3. And he's doing this little rocking back and forth between the top 2 notes and the bottom one on 8th notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay. Now finally this B7. Now once again, okay, so here is B7. We got octaves here. B, D sharp, and A there for that 7th, but there's this alteration here with the sus2 on a C sharp, and you can just move your second finger back and forth between them. This one just alternates. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna sing through this whole verse one more time, nice and slow. Well, I can't forget this evening or your face as you were leaving, but I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always smile, but in your eyes, your sorrow shows. Yes, it shows. No, I can't forget. Okay, so now we're in verse 2. So there are 2 more verses in this song. They are very similar to the first verse, but there are a couple of little details in the piano part that happen to be different in the recording. So I'm just going to walk through this verse now and talk about those differences. So in the first measure here, we're going to do this instead of with the add 9 up high like we did in the intro. We're going to do this measure exactly like we did the second to last measure before with the sus2, regular sus2. And this verse is a little bit more energetic. I'm going to be doing octaves the whole time, even on the G sharp minor and stuff. So no, I can't forget tomorrow when I think of all my sorrow, when I had you there, but then I let you go. He does the G sharp 7 a little differently this time. If you don't want to think about all the variation, you could totally just do the exact same thing all 3 times. But here's how it sounds in the second verse. So it's a little bit of a lower voicing here with C, D sharp, and G sharp, and 1 and 2. And then on beat 3, you step that top note down to the F sharp for that dominant 7th sound. And then on beat 4, back there. 1 and 2, 3, and now it's only fair that I should let you know. All of this is the same, except we just stay in this same octave for there. So it's a little simpler there. What you should know. So just like before, and just like before, I can't live. All right, so now we are on the chorus. The chorus is a little bit easier, a little bit simpler. Here's the chords for that. And I'm going to do less of the alterations and just kind of hold down the main chords here. So E, just the E, G sharp, and B, octaves in the left hand. I can't live if living is without you. So before we were doing C sharp minor up here in an inversion, now we're bringing it down, doing root position, C sharp, E, and G sharp. This one you can add maybe just to the first hit, that sus2 or the add 2. You can combine it with the third. If living is without you, I can't live. So F sharp minor, we did it that before. We're inverting it down 1 just so it flows more smoothly here. C sharp, F sharp, and A. F sharp octaves here. Can't live. Can't give anymore. So that is a really smooth transition there. You can keep your 5th finger where it is. And I'm just gonna do the B7, not the sus2 at the moment. Give anymore. Then you just go around again. I can't live. If you've got the range, you can go up an octave here. I'm gonna stay down though. Living is without you. I can't give. I can't give anymore. Well, I can't forget this evening. Okay, so now we're in the 3rd verse. I'll walk through this one as well. It is very similar to the first verse, but a couple little differences. So, well, I can't forget this evening. And it even has the same lyrics as the first verse. Oh, your faces you were leaving. So just single notes in the left hand there. But I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always. So this is more like the first verse. We don't do that lower one. We do the 1 and 2, but we reverse it from how we did in the first verse. In the first verse, we went to the 3rd and then step down. This time we're gonna go and just climb up 2nd, 3rd, like that. You always smile, but in your eyes, your sorrow shows. Optional detail here. Once again, we're going to use the same voicing for both the F sharp over A sharp and the F. We're not going to leap up, but he does do a different inversion here instead of the root position. A sharp, C sharp, and F sharp. It sounds a little bit brighter. It's some nice development. I think it's worth throwing in if you can remember it. And then, yes, it shows. Same as before, same as before. I can't live. So this chorus, living is without you. You can play it just like you did the first one. There's some layers of strings implying different notes. If you want to throw in some of the alterations, you can. And I'll go into what those can be, because once we do the chorus, we get into the outro, which is just a continuation of the chorus chord progression. But then you really do hear the alterations. And so it's going to sound like this. So all those chords, or all those measures are split in half with the first 2 counts on the alteration and then the 3rd and 4th counts not. So for the E, you can do the sus2, 2, and then the add2, and then regular. Now for this F sharp minor, you could do the sus2 there. So instead of the A at first, do the G sharp 1, 2, and then do the full thing. And then you can do the B7 sus2 that we were doing before. So just the shifting of the 2nd finger there. And then on the recording, it just goes around like this a bunch of times and fades out, which is hard to do on piano. So if you're not gonna figure out how to fade, I think it makes sense to just end on an E. That makes it sound kind of final. If you want to add the sus2, you could do add 2 like that. I think that sounds kind of nice. Gives a little bit more color for the final chord. And you can just let that ring out, and then the song is over. All right, thank you for sticking with me. I am now going to play the song all the way through, so all the little details and parts we've talked about, you can see how they fit together in the full thing. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. Also subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Click the bell so you know when I put out more videos like this one. All right, here is my version of Without You.
Well, I can't forget this evening, or your face as you were leaving. But I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always smile, but in your eyes your sorrow shows. Yes, it shows. No, I can't forget tomorrow when I think of all my sorrow. When I had you there, but then I let you go. But now it's only fair that I should let you know what you should know. If living is without you, I can't live. I can't give anymore. I can't live. If living is without you, I can't give. I can't give anymore. Well, I can't forget this evening, or your face as you were leaving. But I guess that's just the way the story goes. You always smile, but in your eyes your sorrow shows. Yes, it shows. I can't live if living is without you.